What a basketball game in Fargo on Wednesday night as North Dakota State prevails 66-65 over South Dakota. Jay Elson, Greg Stephen had the call for you from Shields Arena in Fargo. And Greg, this one looked like it was over with about 10.5 minutes to go, but you got to give Craig Smith and the Coyotes some credit. They battled back, and they had the ball last with a chance to win it.
They did. You know, Shai McClellan ends up with an opportunity at the rim, just rolls around. But for the first 30 minutes, North Dakota State did to them what they had done to Omaha last week. But for the last 10 minutes, they showed enough toughness and fortitude and just worked very well together, and they were the aggressors. They created the turnovers, and they got themselves back in this with a chance to win it at the end.
Let's take a look back at the highlights, starting with the first half. North Dakota State got out early, thanks in large part to Corey Brown. This guy had some kind of 20 minutes.
He did, just great energy, and I think his teammates fed off of it as well. Double-double in the first half, Jay. Obviously, A.J. Jacobson always one of those guys as well, as so is Paul Miller, but Corey Brown was the story for NDSU in the first half.
South Dakota really struggled on the offensive end in that first half. Fortunately, Casey Kasperbauer came to play. He had 12 first-half points, and if not for him, this thing might have been out of control at halftime.
Yeah, he was very good. Then all of a sudden, Sparks kind of gets a putback late to cut it to 9. And USD was probably fortunate to go in only down 9 at halftime.
Yeah, Brown and the Bison continued, kind of pulled away down the stretch of that first half. Ended up going to the break with a 35-26 lead. Corey Brown, a double-double in that first half. Just an incredible 20 minutes for him. That was his second career double-double, or second double-double of the season. Brown picked up where he left off to start the second half, and the Bison extended that 9-point lead to as many as 16.
He did, got out in the passing lane, creates turnover, gets a dunk, just kind of fed that energy and kind of got the crowd back into it. And you thought, Jay, NDSU might run away with this thing the way they have against USD at home so many times.
Yeah, remember the last 4 games in this series in Fargo, North Dakota State had won by an average of 23.5 points. It looked like we were on that path again tonight, as you said. But back come the Coyotes. They start to apply some pressure, force North Dakota State into some turnovers. And after North Dakota State had led by as many as 16, here come the Coyotes. A steady comeback as they end up with 19 points off turnovers.
Yeah, and they were so big, and even Cabela's hit a big 3 late, but the USD hung around, kept it a 1-possession game, and all of a sudden Trey Norris throws it off the back of Paul Miller at the end, and with 6.6 to go, USD's got that 1 possession and a chance to win it.
Guys just getting on the floor, hustle plays. They got hot from the field. That helped. North Dakota State went kind of cold for a while. That helped as well.
They did. You talk about that pressure. Forced some quick shots, out of rhythm shots, and at one point you said in the second half, as USD had scored on 5 consecutive possessions, that's unheard of against NDSU, especially at home.
Kasperbauer hit a 3 there as he finishes the night with 19 points to lead. Kyle Cabela's hit a 3 that you thought might quiet things down, but not at all. Shai McClellan gets the last shot of the night. He gets a great look. Things set up exactly the way the Coyotes want him to out of the timeout, but the ball rolls off the rim, and North Dakota State survives.
Yeah, it was a great play at the end. They put Kasperbauer in the corner. You knew they weren't going to help off of him. McClellan was one-on-one with Miller, muscled it up, great effort, everything but fall through.
Yeah, the final score, 66-65 in favor of North Dakota State. The Bison go to 12-6 on the year. They improved to 2-2 in Summit League play with a big game coming up here at Shields Arena on Saturday against South Dakota State.
Yeah, that is going to be a big game. South Dakota State with a tough one tomorrow night against Fort Wayne. We'll see what the result of that is. But I'll tell you what, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, great atmosphere when those two teams get together.
100% right there. The Coyotes, meanwhile, fall to 9-10 overall. They're now 1-4 in the Summit League, but I think they showed that they've got a little more character than maybe a lot of 1-4 teams would in the league. They really showed some heart down the stretch of this game.
I agree, Jay, and that's one of those things. If I'm Coach Smith, the 1-4 record is irrelevant. I think they've got a high ceiling. I think they've got a lot of room for growth, a lot of room for improvement. And as you mentioned, they showed some things that last 10 minutes that they can truly build on.
Coyotes back in action Wednesday, January 20th at home against Western Illinois. Again, the final score from Fargo, 66-65. North Dakota State defeats South Dakota in Summit League action. For Greg Steeman, I'm Jay Elson. Thanks for watching.